It is here on the second summer solstice that I lay alone in wait for the gathering at the fisherman's palace to observe a new emperor's reign. Men, women, children of any age are to join together and unify for this momentous occasion. As I lay on the boat, face towards the ever so slowly darkening sky, I await the subtle nudge of the ship's rest in the harbor. The clamor of the town could be heard from far away, however I had taken no notice to it, as it only meant that my rest would be interrupted shortly. With an abrupt shake, the junk took its place in line with the rest. Meticulous steps, I walk off the boat and head towards the town. With great leisure, I walk into the clamor of the town, ripe with excitement and joy. It's a time of peace, a time where everyone can simply coexist. I began my walk to my destination, ever so slightly unsure of where I would end up. However, my mind's not worried about this, as this can be easily resolved. The streets seem to be busier than ever, people scurrying about, simply minding their own business, with vendors who are shouting and singing in a most wonderful chorus of disjointed sounds, and with the clean-faced children playing games in which none of them knew the rules. It was a wonderful sight to behold, and I had to stop for several seconds, simply to take in this scene and enjoy it. The disharmonious scene had a never before seen beauty to it. Nothing was at all similar in it, but it seemed all pre-rehearsed, everything fitting exactly as it should. In the distance, faint whines of the horses could be heard, adding a subtle but noticeable harmony to the entire scene. Several minutes pass as I come to realize that my journey must continue. The meeting was an event that would certainly be remembered, and thus it must be enjoyed just as much as this scene. I walk past many street performers, each one displaying unique acts for the watching crowds. There were storytellers, acrobats, and crafters all around, but one man in particular sparked my interest, as he was simply going around and complimenting people, and wishing them a good day. Not that the people here were not just as pleasant, but this man seemed to not have enough to eat, based on how he hobbled around the street, and no money for clothes, as he was wearing clothing that seemed to have been passed on through the generations. I asked him in a calm tone, "Why do you do this, sir? You seem to be ready to cripple over dead at any moment. Surely you must be hungry and need something to eat." The man chuckles at me in a respectful fashion. After a drawn-out cough, he replies, "What is there more to life than seeing the happy faces of those around you?" As he walks off without saying another word to me, I simply stare at him. There are no words to say. The cooling breeze swam across my face as I looked toward the north. The small river that snaked through the hills was nearby, just beyond sight. The vibrant orange sky would soon turn to a mournful purple before disappearing into the dark. I quickened my stride, only to have to stop again at a vendor. What drew me to the stand was not the man's subtle yet calming singing, but instead the estranged dinerware, bowls, and plates that he had in front of him. They were some of the most unusual pieces I had ever seen before, having various holes in them, fringed edges, and odd shapes. Nothing practical. I look at the man behind the counter, a boy not yet out of his early years, and ask, "Why are these bowls in such a manner? This doesn't seem practical." The boy stiffened up as if I had offended him, but only for a few seconds. He said, "This was no dream of mine, but my father had just passed on. This is all that he had, and all that I have." With a sorrowful nod, I acknowledged the boy's pain, and continued on my way to the river, which was just ahead now, simply past the outskirts of the town. The boat lay still, sitting in the motionless water, awaiting my arrival. I joined the captain, an old friend of mine, as he sets the boat afloat, heading towards the winding river. With a bottle of wine in hand, I say my temporary farewells to him and lay atop the ship, staring at the great beyond. By now the stars had come out, filling the dark, empty void of blackness with a light show that would last all night. The stars could never die. But as I look up, I notice the clouds moving across the stars, hiding their brilliance under a mask of gray. But why would they do such a thing? Clouds cannot die, and yet they cannot be born. Why would they continue to move if there were simply no end, trapped in a cycle that was to forever circle for all eternity? To be broken apart and rejoined, but never destroyed. What a terrible thing it would be to be a cloud. With the wine now gone, an invigorating, fresh, new coastal breeze to sting my face, and a night as ripe as it will ever be, the boat lands at the forest that shrouded the fisherman's palace. After a short walk through the narrow bamboo-ridden path, you can finally see it. A building of great elegance that is built into the mountainside, sits over a rippling lake with the face of a shining moon. In the reflection of the water, I can see off in the distance two small houses, the houses of the main fishermen of the town. I head off the trail and start up the staircase to the palace. The palace got its name not due to any ruler who liked to fish, but merely because it was an abandoned monastery, which some local fishermen chose to glorify. As I approach, I get the smell of wine and fish, and welcome it with joy, as it is a smell only the fisherman's palace holds. I enter the building, and am instantaneously greeted by friends and friends of friends. Many knew who I was, simply because of my position. However, others knew me because of who I was. We enjoyed ourselves through the night, eating extravagant food, drinking to our heart's delight, and laughing until we fell down. We watched the fireworks explode vibrantly in the distance, and watched the brilliant moon and stars ward off the encroaching darkness with their revealing light. This is a time of bliss, a time of pure happiness and fear of nothing. It is a shame that none will ever feel the same feeling as I have.